Commercial break. When we return, we'll find out our winner of this Crucible.
Keep up with your favorite players and teams on the official HGC website for desktop and mobile. Stats, archived matches, and everything you need to stay up to date with the global Heroes of the Storm Esports League. Watch live on game days and upgrade your Heroes of the Storm knowledge. 2018 promises to be the best year yet. Look for expanded statistics, enhanced viewing experiences, and more on your home for the HGC.
Our stand right here. Our choice is crystal clear. We are the beasts, the monsters fear.
we're going to the fabled 7th game in a best-of-7 series. The winner moves into HGC for next season, or in No Tomorrow spot, retains their spot. And this is quite the comeback. They were 3-1 a bit earlier, and they are potentially doing the full run back, Kala. Do you think they can do it?
I mean, yes. I think both of these teams can do it. No matter what, the circumstances are absolutely massive. You know, it dictates the next period of your life. You know, it turns your hobby into a career, or it devastates your career and leaves you, you know, not being in the HGC. So no matter what, the circumstances of this game are just absolutely insanely huge.
It's time to find out the last map here as we can take a look. We know that we had the bands of Dragonshire and Tomb, so that leaves us with one and only BOE.
And what a map to go to. You know, as you've said before, it's one of your favorite maps. It's fun to cast.
Yeah.
It's always very exciting. Lots of skirmishing. It's kind of like a map that's equal parts team fight, equal parts macro. So we're going to see these teams out-micro themselves, outsmart each other. We'll see which one you know, ends up happening a little bit more, but this is an excellent map to go to in our game number 7.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, you know, every map is different when it comes to hero priority for sure, but yesterday we ended up seeing amateur opponent Artanis from Swabs Magoo, and he was just getting the god swaps with Artanis. Like, it's really fun because that's not a hero you see on any other map, really, right? And suddenly, you know, more Thralls get played. Suddenly, Hanzo is like, you need Hanzo. He's amazing. Maybe we'll see him banned. Who knows?
Yeah.
Jaina is still pretty good here, too. It's occasionally we'll see her.
True. Greater emphasis on heroes that can race the Immortal. You know, the Hanzo, the Greymane. Sometimes, like, this is beforehand, but you don't usually see her anymore. But Vala, you know, with her Q build, stuff like that.
Hunter style, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So, you know, more emphasis on actually being able to defeat those Immortals is kind of how the draft goes. And that's why we're seeing the Hanzo banned out for King's Gambit right out of the gates.
Now, you know, heroes like Genji that can constantly put on the pressure, they're still very much prevalent. And then again, you have the Li Ming poke, which is also very good. So poke is a thing, but also the race. So, yeah, take it away.
King's Gambit, they believe in their Maiev. You know, they're 1-1 with it right now, but it looks really good. No Tomorrow, they want the Sonya against it. So it's the Sonya and Garrosh right away for No Tomorrow. No ETC this time.
They just made their Sonya Garrosh look really hard to deal with in team fight, or is ETC not Garrosh? But Garrosh is so good on this map, and he was banned out in the last series too.
That's true. The Sonya was really the winning factor for me at that point. But what do we got here? Maiev locked in, Sonya and Garrosh as the response. You need some way of dealing with the Immortal, and I actually see King's Gambit, you know, they chose to run with a Karazim earlier today. Is this something that they'll pull out in this game, number 7? You know, Karazim is the best support in the game for racing the Immortals, so it could certainly come through, but they go with the Malfurion instead. I think that's also smart, and Diablo, fantastic engage hero. You know, Diesel on Diablo is really terrifying.
Yep, sticking to their guns. Now, the respect ban on the Jaina and the Hanzo, and the way that every team is drafted melee only so far in the support, really makes the ranged assassin pool robust, right? So then we have to look at some of the other heroes that are a little bit more, I guess, unique, and that's why we're seeing the Genji and the Tracer, like those hypermobility, harass heroes that are being considered for the bans here. But I almost think, like, would King's Gambit want Genji? I guess they would.
I think so, yes. Absolutely. You know, it's one of their best heroes, actually, in my opinion. But not showing up yet. I think it could certainly come through, but Droplets and Maiev are the ones that go hand in hand here. So Blaze being hovered as a ban. And I think that would be a smart ban for sure. You know, especially how strong it looked against that Sonya last game.
Blaze has been taken away. So yeah, they want to, you know, control the solo lane a little bit better. It's not like you can't pick something like Dahaka here. Globals aren't as much of a necessity. We will see the, you know, pretty classic Stukov in this kind of situation take that away, which I think is very smart. Probably Lucio, Rhaegar, Uther. Those are the 3 that we will have considered for the supports, most likely.
For No Tomorrow, what's it going to be? As I said, Karazim is a hero that shows up more often on this map in particular, but yeah, it could be any of those heroes for sure. You're playing against a Malfurion and a Diablo, so Cleanse would be pretty nice. Yeah, it could be Lucio, it could be Rehgar, it could be Karazim.
And then TAS with a Tracer or something is also on the table.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. They can run at the Tassadar. They've already shown that they want to do it with the Sonya. You know, a little bit of different circumstances because this is BOE as opposed to Shrine, but you know, Tassadar is fantastic on this map too. So.
Yeah. Definitely not as prioritized as, like you said, on Shrine, where you want lots of AoE to get those last hits, the constant pressure. However, could be what they choose to go for here. Genji's another big option when it comes to the harass and the DPS. Tracer and Greymane trying to monopolize the assassins, and you know, we saw the Greymane counter to Tracer earlier.
So no Tassadar this game, folks, from No Tomorrow. Tracer and Greymane, the ones locked in. Greymane, fantastic for racing on the Immortals. Lots of damage onto that objective. So King's Gambit, they need something kind of equivalent. Right now, they don't have any way of really racing onto the Immortals. So what do they decide to choose? You know, they need their solo laner. You're talking about Dahaka as a possibility. We've seen absolutely no Malthael, so probably not going to come through here. King's Gambit, they like the Falstad too, but you're playing Falstad against a Tracer and a Greymane. That could be super terrifying, so likely not the choice.
Too risky. This game is everything. This one game on BOE determines, like you said, your next 6 months of your life as a pro gamer or not. And only 10 seconds left to lock in their final roster here. They need an offlane.
Huge. Phoenix and Artanis. You talked about the Artanis a little bit earlier. We've already seen him. His amateur opponent is one of those big factors for racing the Immortals. We said that that King's Gambit needed something like that in their draft, and they pick it up in their solo laner. Phoenix as their backline damage dealer. You've got the APOC, you've got the Roots from Malfurion, and the Planet Cracker if that's the choice. So King's Gambit, they have a huge playmaking potential with their draft. No Tomorrow though, you know, you've got Tracer and Greymane, so much blow up potential, and of course the volatility of Garrosh, always able to find those ground breakers, always able to get those taunts, you know, lots of burst damage for No Tomorrow as well.
I think this is a really cool response. I mean, Artanis isn't necessarily going to threaten Sonya the way that like maybe another one could. His actual presence in the lane is going to be fine. It's going to kind of like just kind of maintain, not win. You're not going to win that lane versus Sonya as Artanis. It's not going to happen. But with the race potential, and I love the Phoenix that we saw earlier when we were playing on, I think it was Braxis, the Phoenix game. I thought it was really well executed, so I'm pumped to see that work here. And again, the flexibility of being able to put him into the lane, safely clear that with the splash damage on his auto attacks, and then if he has to teleport, he has it.
It's going to be a good one. I can't wait to see how the Artanis gets played, because last time we saw him, you know, the engages would come through and then counter engages would show up and then the suppression pulse on the counter engages, and then there's just like nothing that you can do at that point. So very well played. The swaps from swabs, as you were saying, it's kind of weird to say, but we're really, really good. Let's see if the pick ends up showing up here. Which draft are you preferring?
I'll be honest with you, because of the Artanis and the value that suppression pulse can get versus like just even Greymane being one of their primary damage dealers, it can have so much value against Sonya too. I'm going with that. I'm going with King's Gambit.
Right on.
You?
Yep. I like the style that King's Gambit has, but you can never, you know, say that No Tomorrow's draft isn't going to be strong here. You know, you got Sonya, you got Uther, you got Tracer. So like those three heroes, not even talking about the Garrosh, it's just you cannot count their draft out. But I might be with you here, 55 and 45.
This match determines everything for these teams. It's time to begin the 7th game of the series, going on into Battlefield of Eternity. And No Tomorrow have been running it back. They're here in the blue. We got Jeshrite going to be playing the Tracer. Tomster on support, rockin' Uther. Jin is here playing Garrosh. Casanova on the flex of Sonya, or excuse me, and Equinox on Sonya.
Here we go. On the right in red is King's Gambit. We got Itobi on Malfurion, Zergling playing that Artanis, Droplets on Maiev, Kevin playing Phoenix, and Diesel on Diablo. Game number 7 here. Probably the most impactful game I've ever casted in my entire life.
Absolutely. This is, I mean, best of 7s are hard to come by in general just because of the, you know, the massive amount of time it takes and pressure it is for the teams. We saw the interviews earlier. The preparation they have to do is completely different because the map pool becomes insane. And this is, again, you know, we're all over the place here. And ending it all out on BOE, a 2-lane map that's been in the game forever. I think it's by far the best 2-lane map in the game. And the drafts are well, you know, the isolated meta has been evolving. I think we've watched No Tomorrow adapt as a team to learn how to deal with the aggression that exists on the side of King's Gambit. And just going to come down to mechanics here and who can outplay their opponent.
Absolutely. No Tomorrow with a bit of a race advantage on the structures, but now Tracer rotating bottom. And what I wanted to bring up is the fact that King's Gambit have the ability to poke out quite well. But you're against a Uther, so not a lot of sustained healing. So No Tomorrow have to be cautious about getting poked out too much by King's Gambit, especially with this Phoenix represented on the side of King's Gambit.
Swap. Oh my goodness, max range, but the actual roots are not going to connect here. Equinox going to get flipped, Shatter Charge back. The tether will be enough on Equinox, but can they get the kill? Very tanky is that target. The damage from Artanis just not enough. And even with all of that, maybe if they landed the roots, that would have been a kill. That's costly, spending so many resources trying to find that kill.
Yes, that was extremely important to get that root, but it just didn't connect. So, you know, Equinox able to just spin to win away from that one on the Sonya. That would have been huge for King's Gambit. Now just camps traded, both bottom and top for these teams. Phoenix down bottom for King's Gambit, so he's going to be able to do some damage to that Khazra camp, but he's got to be cautious. You know, Jhin not showing on the wave at all, just watching rotations. No Tomorrow want to try to get some damage onto the bottom wall if possible.
Okay, right now Just Today on the Tracer is looking to get the information as to where the enemy team is. Jhin finds the combo, but Diesel, he actually doesn't want to go for it. He could have looked for the Shadow Charge onto Jhin, maybe flip him over, try to look for the body block, not committing to it, just getting the clear on the wave.
Neither team's getting any value actually at this point.
Should they?
Say that, but
ooh.
Oh my gosh, Tracer almost dying to the tower at that point, but having to use all blinks to get away, now recalling. So No Tomorrow have to be cautious about that sort of stuff.
Yep, that's definitely, you know, a dicey situation. You don't want to just kind of throw your life away on accident. So we have the camps being grabbed here, both sides, just timing it for the Immortals as per usual. Level 4 has just been picked up for both teams as well.
Very even early game. You know, I would say King's Gambit looked a bit more aggressive and had the opportunity to find a better advantage, you know, with that rotation top, with that potential pick onto Sonya, but not picking it up. So extremely even now. Fives coming in very shortly for both of these teams. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the first objective spawning in this game number 7.
Yep. We do see Phoenix under a ton of pressure here. Kevin, gonna go down to the pulse bomb. Just the way that they were postured, they had all of their front line really in the top lane, and just a bit risky there. But Equinox in the same situation. The roots, once again, not quite properly placed, and that's going to deny any kind of further pressure because if you don't have the snap blow up, the enemy team's just going to start racing way too fast.
And this is huge. King's Gambit are scared to step up, even in a defensive situation. You know, amateur opponent on the Artanis is bottom side, but now huge advantage on this first Immortal here going over to No Tomorrow. The 50% mark is reached. So now aggressive spawning here. Do King's Gambit decide to just push up and defend and have Artanis sit back? Or do they 5 commit? What is their play?
Tracer is showing top, so that makes them a little bit safe to start at least doing some damage here while they do defend. But that's also Tracer getting experience. So Maiev actually just kind of scout out that way, trying to get eyes on Deshrate and make sure they know exactly what's happening here. Meanwhile, the damage starting to add up on this. Zergling's doing what he can.
Yeah. It takes a while, but at least, you know, this is a hero that can race decently. There's the Indomitable.
Shadow Charge in the flip onto Jhin. Tether going forward for the Maiev, but Tracer in the back line starting to pressure. We do see Artanis has come into the battle. Swap looking in for Equinox, finds the pick. This should be the kill this time around. Flip is going to be good, but the body block's not quite enough. Tether forcing him to step back in as the damage coming in from Phoenix, but it's just not there. They can't seal the deal.
Really nice job by Equinox just to walk back in there, trust the support play, and then break the tether, then walk out. If he triggered that, he definitely would have been dead here on the Sonya. So Equinox is playing so well in these games later on in this series.
And, you know, they've been getting the pressure onto this slowly but surely. Casanova not going to be collapsed on here. The tether now coming out. This time it will connect to the Equinox. The heal's coming through. The Immortal's going to be finished off. And that's going to be the first one going to the side of No Tomorrow. Nice
job by No Tomorrow. It was basically that pick onto Kevin on the Phoenix bottom side. You know, it really bought No Tomorrow all of the pressure onto the map at that point. They 50%ed the Immortal. And while King's Gambit, I would say, played it pretty well, considering the circumstances. First objective going over to No Tomorrow. They have their level 7s over their opponents, but at least King's Gambit are saying, you know, the shields are reduced significantly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they brought half the shields down. We do see Zergling doing a good job up here in the top half, but Man, it's crazy how this map works, right? We're talking about Kevin losing his life, and then their inability to land those few roots to get the kill onto Equinox. Cleanse has to be used here just out of fear of droplets getting thrown back and being disastrous for them. And suddenly, like, this is a huge push from the Immortal. Usually you don't get that much value, but half health onto this bottom fort, as we do see them backing away. Tracer not getting caught by the actual stun into the wall.
All right, we got to talk about the Wizen Duelist. Coming through for Greymane. High risk, high reward talent here for this Worgen.
Yep.
You know, you're getting those kills, then you're increasing your damage output. So as you get kills, Greymane starts doing more.
Could make the Artanis eager to look for swaps on Greymane, which could actually be good or bad, you know, depending on how chaotic the fights are. Obviously, Sonya is another priority target to worry about and have to deal with. But I do like that they're getting some good pressure finally in the bottom. But we're going to see similar pressure here in the top.
Camps traded out by both of these teams. And then just splitting, exactly. So Zergling is top, trying to defend, but not going to be able to do it. He has to be cautious of, you know, Tracer just zipping in, getting that pulse bomb. But King's Gambit, they push bottom. They're taking the fort in a bit quicker, I believe. But
this is the
basically
we're
the same.
speeding up the game duration kind of play. And this happens sometimes, right? They just kind of go for the trades. They get towards level 10. This does, in a way, favor King's Gambit because they want to make sure they have time to get 10 before their opponent. And if this wasn't the play, the experience is a bit slower. Maybe No Tomorrow edges out because they did have a slight lead and get 10 first. You never know. But this timing is going to make it very even for these teams. We do see the last collapse here to seal the deal in the bottom four as well, and that is level 10.
And that's smart because No Tomorrow assume that King's Gambit are on their Fallen Shaman camp. So they're like, I'm willing to bet at least 3 members of King's Gambit are represented here on the map. So they rotate bottom, they pick up that fort super quickly and escape even quicker. So 10's here for No Tomorrow, but just on the horizon for King's Gambit. Immortal spawning right now.
Fallen Shaman Camp do have a much faster approach to this top lane, and that does force at least 2 members actually showing up to that. With the defensive spawns of the Immortals, that is kind of unlucky here, I guess, for the side of King's Gambit, but they did get the flip. Now tossed in is Zergling. Swamp, not going to go out. Stun coming in. Here's a big beam, giving a safety wall, maybe, to Artanis, but he dies anyways with ease, seemingly. Just so much damage from the Tracer Greymane.
And he was actually able to dodge the cursed bullet there, too. So that the extra damage from Greymane not even connecting. No suppression pulse got used in that situation. Phoenix in a lot of trouble. Gets locked up. Kevin with the warp away, though.
The warp away is good. Huge damage as the Twilight Dream silences everyone. Divine Shield is going to keep one alive, but Shadow Charge going in. That's the Greymane. Tomster is deep. He's going to go down. That Twilight Dream is monster.
Picking up another kill, 3 going over to King's Gambit, and now the focus is onto the Immortal. Huge power play from King's Gambit in what looked like a disadvantageous situation. You know, you were dead with your Artanis, so you didn't have that hero to help, but the overcommit from No Tomorrow was there. As you mentioned, that Twilight Dream was absolutely phenomenal.
Legendary, right? If your enemy team's going to be diving on you with 3 or 4 melee-esque heroes, yo, that is how you shut it down. Picture perfect from Etobi. They tap the well to re-engage. This time they have a solid advantage when it comes to the health. Uther not quite here yet, but they will be at full power, ready to fight and defend their Immortal.
So King's Gambit not able to pick up the objective, you know, with those kills, but still they are ahead at this point. So both of these teams are just posturing defensively right here. Tracer is represented bottom, and there goes Wrath. Equinox, you know, trying to get some damage onto this Immortal, but Tracer's not there to assist.
Zergling holding the swap. Much longer cooldown than the actual Q. But we do see the damage is slowly catching up here. On the side of No Tomorrow, they just have that nice poke. Tracer's been soaking the bottom lane effectively, but Artanis doing the same in the top. Obviously, if they are able to push up the bottom, they threaten the keep wall, and that's a problem. You don't want that to happen. So that's actually kind of pushing the issue here, and you see Diesel looking for this aggressive rotation down. He stepped in, Ancient Spear forward, Q in from Garrosh. That's not enough to get the lockdown. Jhin wanted it. Now we see Zergling may be able to look for a swap, but actually, no, he's backing away.
And there's no Wrath available. Zergling now just pathing bottom to just pick up that soak, not wanting to lose any structural damage. But yeah, not having Wrath is worth mentioning. It's going to be up soon here for No Tomorrow. But if King's Gambit can find a fight when it's not available, it could be huge. Zergling has to really be cautious here.
Oh boy. Oh, Jhin steps away at the last moment. Patient game is being played right now. Jeshurte just trying to keep putting the pressure on bottom. And again, the same now Phoenix getting minions onto the top 4. That experience is going to be valuable considering it's dead even right now if they were to pick that up. Now 13 talent here could come into play during this very slow, patient phase we have over the Immortals. Cleanse is flawless to make sure that Tether does nothing.
Zergling, oh, the swap puts him into safety. That was a fantastic play, and here comes the engage.
The Divine Shield has to be used to get Sonya away. The Tether pulling Garrosh back into that Planet Cracker. Zergling is going to get the shield. Tether again onto Equinox, but the health bars are fairly good minus Jhin. That's going to be Wells tapped. Safer here due to the positioning of the fight on the side of King's Gambit for the re-engage.
Wrath is still up for Sonya, but members of King's Gambit are represented on this Immortal to defend it. 13's in a little bit of an advantage here, but does the oh, so close.
Tomster almost got pulled into the Shadow Realm there, but the Dark Nexus will not claim him today. Half HP onto this Immortal. Slowly but surely, we've seen No Tomorrow catching up. Just Tracer being able to throw a few bullets in there and do some damage, but the top 4 to take some damage as well. Now Artanis is saying, you know what? I've got amateur opponent. I'm going to start a Khazra camp.
Tracer trying to charge that Pulse Bomb bottom too, but now members of No Tomorrow are coming.
Both of the Wardens and Cleanse were both cast there. And that is pretty much all the safety net that they have there. Artanis has to leave the camp, realizing that this is potentially risky. I mean, they haven't seen him in a while, so they have an idea that he is doing this. And Tracer is actually scouting around as we speak. Okay.
This is neck and neck, Jake.
Yep.
Like, this is so
they want 13.
close.
Both these teams are just like, get 13, get 13.
And it's here for King's Gambit off of this wave. So they're going to pick this one up and then likely play aggressive, but it's also here for No Tomorrow, so it's pretty much even. But now King's Gambit have that camp pushing top lane, so they have a little bit of an advantage here.
If Tracer commits to that at all, she's not really that scary of a hero that's going to pressure your Immortal, so you can commit to putting all 5 down here in the bottom half, forcing Tracer to leap. So that does mean the Khazra could get some value. The Shadow Charge in onto Jhin, that's the target, but the Zergling is so very low here, and down he goes. Planet Cracker getting some decent value as a Tether, pulls him back in with that Warden Cage. We do see Dropus using both of the Warden. That means he's a little bit more vulnerable than he might want, but he does have the retreat with that Shadow Step.
Jhin finding the engage onto Artanis again, and this is feeling very squishy, this Artanis pickup. King's Gambit, they have the top camp pushing out, but now members of No Tomorrow, they're going top, they're going to clear this one, and their objective is spawning top. Yes, it has a very low shield at this point, and it should be quite defensible for King's Gambit, but still another objective going over for No Tomorrow.
Yeah, they started way behind. They played so patiently, putting pressure on the bottom lane, forcing similar responses of the King's Gambit to put the pressure on top. They did get a fort during that phase, which is good and all, and they've kept the experience even. But this is going to be a keep wall, more or less, right? A few range shots available. It's just the pressure of Garrosh Sonya making it so hard to step forward and actually contest it properly. And down goes the shield, so melee mode. Now they can start really putting some pressure on.
And no Planet Cracker, no Warden's Cage either, I believe. So King's Gambit, they just want to try to focus damage onto this Immortal and not go down a keep. No Tomorrow, they're committing resources to this structure.
Fury, Wrath of Berserker has been cast here as Equinox is going to get flipped forward and pushed back, but the boss is doing a wonderful job taking this. Here comes that suppression pulse from Artanis, trying to slow down the damage. They pull in with the Tether. Equinox getting Shadow Charge, but big damage onto Itobi and Zergling. Actually, the taunt goes out, pulling out Artanis and finding the kill. The keep has gone down, and it's done its job. A kill, a keep, more than enough here for No Tomorrow.
Calculated play by No Tomorrow. The D-Shield was also fantastic. This Sonya play from Equinox has just been so good. You know, able to step up onto that keep. Gets comboed by the Diablo. Yes, it wasn't a wall stun or anything like that, but still, Equinox is just feeling so free on this hero.
I mean, the tension right now is palpable. It's crazy how much is on the line right now. The bottom wave is actually just a ton of experience waiting for King's Gambit. 16 going to be locked in here, and that is the first time we've seen them with the sizable lead of this final game. Right now, King's Gambit on the ropes. They need to try to get that 16 talent here, which will help them greatly. But I agree, this Artanis has been struggling to actually perform the way they want it to.
No Tomorrow now with bot lane emphasis. You know, they'll constantly be having these catapults pushing top. So grabbing this Khazra, they're moving in, maybe getting some wall damage. They have to be cautious of the swaps from Artanis, of course, but they have the talent advantage. So if King's Gambit force a fight, they're going to be doing it from a place of severe disadvantage.
Pretty much. And You can see Jin with this posture just kind of waiting. If Kevin steps out, that's lights out. You know, Garrosh just kind of finds that huge toss. Catapults in the top aren't going to be an issue anytime soon, considering that they were able to push that out effectively ahead of time. But, you know, there's neutral camps to be grabbed. They could rotate up, grab the top camp, keep the pressure, remove the options that can alleviate the catapult.
Yep.
I mean, right now it is definitely a tough situation for King's Gambit.
This is going to be huge for No Tomorrow. Having this Khazra camp push topside alongside your catapults is just, it's going to be almost impossible for King's Gambit to deal with it. Eventually, they'll have to represent numbers top lane to stop that push from happening, and that will give No Tomorrow an opportunity to move in, get some damage onto the Immortal. So No Tomorrow playing the patient game, but keep in mind, folks, 15.5 here for King's Gambit. Can they get level 16? Can they get their team fights?
You got to commend, you know, No Tomorrow and their just awareness of not clearing the top lane. A lot of teams will just, you know, they'll just soak the XP, right? Because it's there to be soaked. But King's Gambit has not been able to get experience in top 4 in an extended period of time because it's too far forward. Can't risk it. They don't have 16 as a result. And right now, both of their lanes are unfavorable. There's a Khazra camp in the top lane, a Fallen Shaman camp in the bottom lane, catapults as well, and they already have lost about half their Immortal every single condition in favor of No Tomorrow.
Wow. So much damage, and that was basically just Sonya stepping up here. Droplets now, bottom side, trying to get as much experience as possible. King's Gambit, they need to defend this. You cannot give a full shield Immortal.
Why didn't they get 16? They didn't get 16 in time.
They didn't have time.
Oh, this is so rough. And you know what? No Tomorrow, they aren't taking any chances either. They know they have the 16 advantage for that moment, but they don't want to risk it because anything can happen in those choke points. 16 has finally been picked up. Zergling getting what damage he can done to remove these shields, but looks like the call has been made. Equinox is going in, trying to finish the job. Shadow Charge and Flip. Actually, the second Shadow Charge goes on to Tracer. Not enough for the focus. Divine Shield spent there on the Sonya, getting the damage onto the Immortal. They're racing. Planet Cracker trying to force them away. The damage on Jin is huge.
Droplets.
And the tether, the damage. They kill Garrosh. The Immortal is still alive. The flip here onto Tomster. Can they get the kill? The damage from Artan is probably not enough, but they still have to defend their base. That bottom keep is taking a lot as well.
Exactly, and if this Immortal goes over to No Tomorrow, especially if they have all of their numbers, it could spell the end of the game for them. Zergling now focusing onto the Immortal on the right-hand side of the map of No Tomorrow's. Kevin represented bottom side, just trying to stop the advance, but here we go!
The Diesel charge in, almost enough to get Tracer here. The damage to the Immortal going to end up falling at last, and they can't find another kill. Half shields on the Immortal. That keep is going to go down, and Garrosh is up in 10.
Oh, Equinox with the spear over the wall to safety, but at this point, folks, No Tomorrow, they don't have Garrosh yet.
Nothing. Exactly. I mean, no, they don't have Garrosh yet, but he'll be here in 2 seconds.
That's true.
He'll be there to push. Top lane has catapults that are about to be on the core. They need, those 3, oh, they're going to take damage here. They need Zergling to get in there quick because shields are down, and the core is starting to fall already. Every percent matters in this defense. 5-man push, 16 to 17. That keeps going down for sure.
Yes, King's Gambit have to focus onto this Immortal as best as they can. No Tomorrow are feeling so good now.
They need a God Swap or something. I don't know. Casanova is the target here, going in from Diablo, but a little bit split. Zergling trying to fight with Equinox, but Equinox is just invincible seeming. Diesel is so low. Shadow charging again onto that Greymane. The double, the flip. Greymane goes down, but the core is now under siege by the Immortal. Zergling doing everything in his power, trying to help. The pulse bomb goes down. The core is falling so quickly with Jay Shirte still alive. Jin and Tomster, they're looking to retain their spot here in HGC, and No Tomorrow will hold strong in an epic run back.
GG, game number 7, No Tomorrow end up coming back from being in a substantial deficit in the series, and they close it out in this game 7 on BOE, and they looked good for most of these games. We were worrying about their consistency, but they've proven themselves here. This was a very difficult series to claw your way back into. So much momentum on the side of King's Gambit, and No Tomorrow, they find their synergies. We were talking about this before the day even started, and they close it out.
Both teams deserve eternal praise for a beautiful series, battling for their life to become, or maintain their pro player status. And we saw a lot of different styles of play, right? Evolution throughout the series, but I think No Tomorrow, that's the team that was able to just hunker down under the pressure when they were against the ropes, down 3-1. Adapt, be more aggressive themselves, stop lidding their opponents of King's Gambit, bring the fight to them, and then ultimately turn it around and maintain their spot in HGC.
It was big. It was absolutely huge for them. And this, like, all of these members, I absolutely think that they deserve to be in the HGC.
Yes.
Like, they are strong players. Like, we have to talk about the Sonya pickup. Was that something that you just needed to ban if you're King's Gambit? Because Sonya, Equinox on the Sonya, looked like he was single-handedly, like, dictating the pace of every single objective and those games that Sonya was chosen in.
It was disgusting. It was insane at how
Top
strong
damage
it
numbers
was.
again.
Like, yeah, 28,000 damage. It's not like the highest number because of the way they're posturing all the time, but Sonya just put out huge damage, constantly putting the siege out there. The damage onto the Immortal, like, usually you don't think of Sonya as, like, she's going to help race. Oh, my goodness, those spears hurt.
Yeah, and then the game prior on Shrines, you know, she was boasting 65,000 hero damage, which was above anyone else on. Yeah, so like so much pressure put out by this pick. Just fantastic performance from this team. All of the members playing very, very well, and you know. Every single person, we can say at least at one point during the series, it's like, okay, this was the Jin show, you know, this was the Kassa show.
But at the end of the day, towards the end of the series, I think it was the Equinox show.
Me too.
Because that pressure was, I mean, it made all the difference in the world, those games.
Yep, absolutely. Very well deserved indeed. But King's Gambit, you know, they came from being a lower seeded team in the open division. Yep. They get to the top in finals, you know, and then they 4-0 XD in the grand finals, and they make this kind of a showing at the Crucible. Like, these guys are not done. Absolutely not. They are
better
this
not
close.
be.
Yeah, exactly. So many star players on that roster.
And young talent, too.
Yes.
It's not just like a lot of times in Open Division when we look at, for example, Heroes Hearth, a team that has been making waves. They came from Open just last season, right? And you look at it, the foundation, Arthalon, you know, former C9 and Tempo Storm, McIntyre, Crowan. Like, these are names that we're just used to seeing. But then Ishbu and BBJ, right? And they were the top of Open for pretty much the entire year last year. And now they're the top of North America. They're going to the midseason brawl. I see that same potential with King's Gambit, yet they don't have that pro flair to the same level. Yes, we know Etobi and eKevin and Droplets has been a king forever. He's just such a talented player. Every single one on the team, I can't say how happy I am to see them play that well. And I want both teams to win because that was a fantastic series.
Absolutely. You know, I've got friends on both sides, but as, you know, the caster personality, you got to try to be as unbiased as possible. And I think we represented both of these teams well, and they represented themselves well. We saw so much more consistency out of King's Gambit too. They played so well, but no tomorrow. They're really the ones that stole the show for me because they've been having some difficulties lately, you know, obviously being in the Crucible in the first place, but they really showed that they can come together as a team when they most need it. Maybe it's the introduction of a coach, Kubi, into their team. Maybe it's, you know, just the way that they're, you know, backs against the wall. Who knows? But they did it, and that's really all that matters.
And it's hard to do, to have the mental fortitude to just be like, yeah, we're down 3-1, but no, we got this. Like, you know, it's not over till it's over, and they really proved that there. Really fun series, just too, generally speaking, the way the varieties of draft, the play styles that we saw busted out there, you know, just kind of shows, like, how awesome Heroes of the Storm is, especially with the variety of maps and just the variety of play styles that are born.
Yeah, no support style on Braxis, even though it didn't work out very well, you know, it still can work under certain situations. Yep. King's Gambit just responded really well to it. But still, yeah, we saw some interesting stuff. Maybe not as cheesy as I thought we might see, considering the map bans and stuff like that. But overall, probably my favorite series I've ever casted. That was absolutely fantastic.
Easily, dude.
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable one to be remembered here in the Crucible. I don't think we've had one that was that close. Yeah. And you know what? King's Gambit was the one team that showed that they could easily be in HGC. XD did not have the same results yesterday. A lot of talent there on the team. We've seen them look amazing, but with the changes that happened to them the latter half of the season, they didn't quite look as crisp as we might have hoped. And I love just, you know the story of Jin too. Jin was formerly on XD, got scouted and picked up to be the new tank here for No Tomorrow. Honestly, I think they made all the difference for No Tomorrow. It made them look that much stronger. His play alone was paramount to their success. I mean, yes, Equinox, we highlighted him a ton at the end because, yes, the sudden, like, yeah, we're just going to run Sonya and dominate the lane and dominate the team fights and dominate the objective, largely with that hero instead of the Blaze or Dahaka that we might see. But Jin also, I mean, everyone deserves eternal praise. They really do.
Maybe that was just the response to the style that King's Gambit were bringing. Because, you know, you were saying yourself, like, they just throw themselves and expect to win team fights. So instead of drafting something like a Dahaka or a Blaze where they're like, we're going to outsmart you, no, tomorrow's like, no, fine, you want to fight us? Okay, we'll fight into our Sonya. We're just going to
really
body
what it felt
you.
like, yeah. It's just like, okay, go all your melees. Grab that Maiev. we're ready. Did the Maiev look like it got the value it wanted to? Not in that one game on towers, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the adaptation to the draft and No Tomorrow was absolutely in response to Maiev.
Yeah, Sonya into Maiev works very well. You know, you land a single spear onto Maiev, and she just gets like completely chunked out. And then, of course, the sustain, we saw it on Infernal Shrines. Maiev has a difficult time with that. So I loved the way that No Tomorrow adapted.
When we look at North America as a whole, as a region, right? You're the coach for Temple Storm. You're very involved in watching these teams play, even behind closed doors. Where do you see the region going as a whole?
It's actually a really good question. All I want and all I care about is having better teams. You know, if my team doesn't end up at the top, that just means that we've got more work to do. And that means that there are better teams in our region, which means we can get better than we were before. So that's literally all I care about. And I think considering, you know, the fact that No Tomorrow, a team that, you know, has struggled a little bit, has shown that they're willing to fight for their work, they're willing to fight for their jobs and their spot in HGC. I really hope they take this as an opportunity to just say, hey guys, we can band together, we can be an excellent team, and they just skyrocket in their play style, in their gameplay, in their individual work ethic, everything. That's all I care about, because I just want the best teams in my region, because we're going to body Europe.
Big words.
PogChamp.
All right, guys, we have Casanova on the line. Congratulations, first off, my friend. And, you know, I'm just going to open up with the hard question. When you are sitting in a situation where you are down 3-1, what is the calm situation like in your team? What is the stress level, the whole picture? Paint it for me.
I mean, it's awful. Like, it's the worst feeling in the world, right? To be down in a set that you're playing for your livelihood, the ability to pay the bills, everything, and you're down 3-1 in that series. I mean, we're able to keep a level head because, I mean, we know it's the best of 7. It's never over until the very end of the series. And we had those last 3 maps. We knew we are way better on those maps. So we were able to keep it together and close out the rest of the series.
You think that's the biggest variable? It wasn't like there wasn't one person that was able to keep everyone cool-minded. It was just like, nah, man, we are better on these maps. We can beat them, and that was the driving force?
Yeah, I mean, everyone stayed cool. There wasn't, I didn't feel anyone freaking out. I mean, like, you feel it, right? But it's not, no one was like, we lost, right? Everyone had in their head that we are going to win this series. These are 3 maps we are better on. We will win at this point.
Interesting. Hey, I've got a question for you, Casa. First off, congratulations, man. I'm really excited to see you still in the HGC.
Thanks.
So to yourself and all of your teammates, congrats. Is there something that you guys did differently preparing for the Crucible than you did for regular HGC teams? I've asked this question yesterday, but it's always interesting to me as, you know, somebody who participates on a team to see, you know, what sort of play style adaptations or what practice adaptations you make moving into a series as important as this.
We were a lot more focused on this team. During HGC, you focus on the team you're playing, but you're also focused on the overall meta and just being the best team you can be. For this series, it was like, how do we beat KG? And that's what you go into the set doing, which I think is different from regular season. I mean, it's bittersweet, man, because I love the Ebros, I love Droplets. Those new guys are awesome. I mean, it's rough to see them come so far, and they did so well. And for them to not make it in, but, you know, I mean, your job's on the line. You have to put all that out the window and just fight for it. So it's a bittersweet victory for me.
Is that kind of why we saw the Jaina ban? Just because you're targeting members instead of focusing your efforts on banning off their star heroes? Is that kind of why we saw that?
Yeah, so they were 9-0 on Jaina during the playoffs.
They're disgusting.
And we thought we'd be okay versus it in some of the first few games, but we were also kind of feeling it out. Mostly trying to keep Diesel off of Garrosh because he hadn't really shown much on any other hero up until this set. I think he played pretty well this set on other characters, but we wanted to keep him off of Garrosh the whole set. And then after we realized, like, it felt like they were uncomfortable if they didn't have Jaina, we just ran with it the rest of the series and just banned it every time. And just, I think it worked out for us.
Right on. Well, congratulations again to yourself and your teammates. It's a fantastic victory.
All right,
You know,
thank you so much.
I got one more for you because like the
All right,
adaptation
yeah.
from you guys was apparent, honestly, because looking at the early stages of the series, King's Gambit was just like they were willing to fight you 8 to 10 over a boss. Like, no, we're just gonna go in. They were just going straight towards you all game long, choosing when they wanted to fight. It seemed like they were the ones engaging. But as you guys evolved, especially in the latter games, seeing stuff like Sonya being picked up, was that a conscious decision that like we're just gonna be the ones initiating the fight rather than them fighting on their terms? We're gonna bring the fight to them, or what was the biggest driving factor to swapping Equinox into that Sonya versus some of the other options that could have filled that role?
So I mean, all week we played Sonya like 80% of our games, and like in the first map, the towers map, when we gave Maev, usually we give Maev and pick Sonya because it just bodies her, but we didn't do that the first map, which was so stupid of us. But as soon after that, we're just like, all right, we'll play what we practice with this Jaina adaptation. That's it, just the Jaina. Everything else we're playing exactly what we played all week. And so that Tassadar comp we ran like 20 times this week. Like we knew that was a win. We're just like, we won. It's over. We got the full comp we wanted. And from there we just knew on that last game, so Equinox was feeling it after that first game. He was really like pumped up, and we're just like, all right, just give him Maev again, and we'll just take the Sonya Garrosh, and this game's done.
Fantastic. You know, congratulations once again. The floor is yours to shout out whoever you wish.
All right, so shout outs to my whole team, really. Like everyone played great today. Shout outs to Jin for coming in from open and just really doing his best. Shout outs to Tomster, shout outs to Jay, shout outs to Equinox, shout outs to our coach Kubi, shout outs to Chrissy, and I really want to give the biggest shout out of all though to KG. I really do. They played really well. They showed that they could compete in the HGC. Like if they had made it, they had proved themselves at this point. Like Toby, Kevin, those are my bros. I've known them since I came into the scene. I love those guys. Droplets too. Like I really hope to see them keep fighting, keep pushing. I hope to see them next year, coming in 2019. I hope to see them pushing up for the top ranks again.
Well said, man. Well said. Congratulations. And you know what? Can't wait to see you guys evolve as well. So, guys, that is the Crucible. All 4 teams from HGC have held strong. Kala, are you surprised?
I am a little bit surprised. Or no, not surprised. I'm actually just very happy with the results. I really feel like both of these teams represented themselves very well. They both played their heart out, and I think the results speak for themselves. I completely agree with Casa, and first off, what an honorable thing to say. You know, the last thing he says in his shoutouts is shouting out the team that he just played against. That's the kind of community I love to see. I literally got goosebumps listening to him say that. What a fantastic gentleman. But and yeah, I completely agree with him. I think that the King's Gambit is, you know, I did this earlier, like literally a millimeter away from being that level. I actually think that they are capable of playing in the HGC. It's just, yeah, they have to just keep working hard. Yep,
for sure.
Absolutely.
A very, very well-fought series there by King's Gambit, but no tomorrow. Congratulations to them one more time. Guys, that does it for us here at the Crucible. We'll see you next week at Heroes of the Dorm, live from Burbank, California. GG's.